In Christmas of 2007, I got an Xbox 360, one of the arcade machines. I still have it, and it still works. Wow. It was a neat console. I had played a little bit of the 360 at my uncle's house before I got my own. I played plenty of UMK3 with them and spent a ton of time in the Dead Rising demo. It was very cool. When I got my own 360, I didn't even have a memory card for it. My parents didn't exactly get what a memory card was for and thought I could just play without it. Tons of time spent perfecting Sonic 06. Lots of dying and starting completely over on Sonic 06. Half that shit wasn't even my fault. 2009. I had started high school this year. I was a freshman and totally an adult, or so I thought. By this time, I had upgraded my 256 megabyte memory card and my 512 megabyte memory card to a sweet 20 gigabyte hard drive. I also ended up saving up enough money for an Ethernet cable. I was connected. And then I started to learn that the Xbox was much more than a video game console. It was a multimedia home system, basically a rudimentary computer. Sometime around my sophomore year of high school, some apps came to the 360 store that let you do cool things like stream video content. Maybe YouTube was already part of it by this time, but I don't really remember. One of my favorite applications was LastFM. If you don't know what LastFM is, it's an online radio service. You could type in a band or a song that you really liked, or some really broad genre, and it would just start playing some tunes. I wasn't too into music at this time. I mainly listened to video game soundtracks, and Metallica was sort of my thing. Yeah, I was that kid. Most of my music tastes come from internet culture and what my cousins were listening to at the time. So I go on to this thing and I start typing in the OG Metallica, and it starts playing some band I've never heard of. I don't even recognize the song. I ask myself, what is this? Turns out you can't really pick what songs you want to listen to. Oh yeah, and there were also some ads that you had to sit through every couple of songs, but none of them were really in your face. They were actually kind of quiet. I mainly just remember car commercials. Mainly this one where a SUV drives through the desert. For all I know, it could have been a commercial for like Forza, and I wouldn't have known. It became a habit that every time I got home from that dreaded learning prison that people call school, I would go to my room, turn on the TV and the Xbox, and just load up LastFM to listen to some tunes. One of the cool things about LastFM, it also had a looping slideshow of band photos. Not really album arts, but just like photos of the band, so you could really get a good sense of who you were listening to, not just what. And I would just kind of vibe with them. Being the little dumb nerd that I was, I started to look up some really basic stuff. I looked up Castlevania in the search bar, and I was not displeased. The first thing that popped up was this cover by the mini-bosses, and I thought it was kick-ass.
Whoa, these guys are like remaking the songs I hear in my video games.
And just like that, I started going down the rabbit hole that was video game covers, all thanks to LastFM and the public school system. They forced me into escapism. So some of the main hitters in this genre was the mini-bosses, the 1-ups, Dwayne and Brando, Analog, and Mega Driver. I'm maybe friends with one of the band members on Steam. He's been Nico Mega Driver for a very long time on Steam and hasn't changed it. So shout out to Nico Mega Driver. I thought your Sonic covers are really awesome. I religiously used to blast this music into my room anytime that I wasn't playing Halo 3 or Symphony of the Night. If I was awake, I was listening to video game covers or alternative rock. And if I was sleeping, I was listening to shit like The Sounds of the Rainforest, mixed with the wine and the light of a CRT television pouring into my room. These are pretty cozy times for me. However, there came a time where LastFM wasn't on Xbox anymore. It was just gone one day for one reason or another. Maybe LastFM or Microsoft lost the license or reached the end of an agreement. I don't know, I'm not a businessman. But in much more recent times, I started to see these videos on YouTube that were like this song but in the Super Mario 64 sound font, or this album in the Sega Genesis sound font. It was like a flood of memories from over a decade ago came flowing right back, just like old times. So I decided to listen to a couple of these. Don't get me wrong, it's not like it's an entirely new type of thing. I'm pretty sure there were services where you could supposedly convert songs over to a low-fidelity MIDI-style format, Those things have their charm, but these things I feel like are very different. The quality and accuracy of some of these songs are just too good for that kind of thing, but results may vary. Some of these are really good. It's as if they were constructed from the ground up by someone who was really familiar with the sound fonts and how they could translate the songs from one of their favorite albums in an accurate way, while some of the ones that aren't so good kind of seem generated by some sort of algorithm, or maybe they were just an amateur work. What I'm saying is it sounds as if the instruments that were part of the sound font weren't really understood, or they're like misplaced whenever they came to making their cover. But while I'm working my night shift job, if I'm not listening to some internet drama, usually I throw on one of these and just kind of go. Hell, even at the gym, I just kind of vibe to some of these sometimes. I think it's just fun to see what I can find. When I heard these covers, I kind of just wanted to tell my personal story about LastFM and how much I miss those days. It just goes to show you don't really realize how good the good times are until they're the gone times. So go out there, listen to that album, send that hard-to-write text message, spend the extra $1 for soda. A comment and like and subscribe. Tell me about a time you really liked a song or something. Yeah, do that. See ya!